Alright, we're watching Skyriser, who's going to be playing Winston and a significant amount of Diva, and there's also going to be some random amounts of Risa and Rammatra thrown in. This is Gold 3. I think it's on PC on Route 66. This is a tank game with me as Winston for the majority of it. I'm Gold 3 on tank, but I'm diamond support. I was struggling to get into tank mindset. Probably used to play too passive because I main support, but your videos, my videos, helped me a lot. I'm glad. I'm started today at Silver 1 and managed to climb to Gold 3 so far. I felt like I was doing good this game, except for the obvious stupid jump that would lead to my death. I'm in a group with both supports, one of them being Plat 1, the other Civil 1. Any help would be appreciated. Okay, so this is one of the longest games I've ever seen. It's 36 minutes long, which is absolutely crazy. And of course, it's Route 66, which is common for this. Route 66 is generally offense's favorite map. A few thoughts here. Number one, I don't know that we're going to cover the whole game. We'll see how far we go, because it's just crazy long, and it's also somewhat repetitive at a certain point. Number two is, especially if you're new to tank, I do not recommend that you play a lot of heroes, right? So you play Winston, Diva, Orisa, and Rammatra in this game for sure, and I can't remember if I'm actually missing one in here as well. Just don't play that many heroes, and I make this analogy a lot. It's like trying to learn like 3 or 5 or 10 musical instruments at the same time. If your goal is, I want to be able to play a song, like a recognizable song, from the radio or whatever. Do people even listen to radio anymore? Spotify, whatever. If I want to play a recognizable pop song or whatever, the fastest way you're going to get there is to focus on one instrument and just get good at that. Okay? If you learn multiple tanks at once, it's going to make it much harder to get better, because you're going to have trouble developing the muscle memory and skills required to play that hero at high rank, right? Because you probably want to climb as fast as you can. That's what most players want to do. The fastest way to climb is to focus on a very small number of heroes, like somewhere between 1 and 3, with a strong preference for 1 or 2. So, for me to see you say, okay, like you're very new to tank, but you, well, actually, I guess it doesn't strictly say that you're that new to tank, but maybe feels generally a good new tank. I don't think you should play that many heroes. And in particular, having seen your Diva, Orisa, and Rammatra gameplay, especially Diva and Orisa, I don't think you're going to win a lot of games playing as them. Because I think your Winston gameplay looks good. I think if you just played Winston all game, you will probably win this game. But switching to these other heroes, especially when you don't need to, like you're not being heavily countered, is holding you back a ton. Like the skill drop off is very obvious as soon as you switch to the other heroes. You just don't look comfortable. You're not using the abilities well. Your positioning's not good. Like it all like kind of falls off a cliff in terms of value, and we'll talk through kind of why that is. But in general, I'd say your Winston play looks good. I think the biggest thing that stands out to me are two things. Number one, and this happens when you play other things too, especially in Diva, don't lose too much health. Like what's called chip damage. So chip damage is when damage that is not really meant to kill you. It's the damage that happens between committed moments of the fight, right? At the beginning right now, like where we're just like messing around and we're just kind of like looking at each other, this is like called poke or chip damage. You don't want to take too much damage here, especially in the current meta where there's a lot less healing, because you may not get back to full health when you dive in. When you dive in on them, you want full health or nearly full health. That way you can stay in, you can zap as much as you can. If you have like 300 health and you dive in, you're just going to die instantly, or you can't dive at all. And you're going to see some fights where you lose because you can't dive because you've lost too much health due to chip damage. That's really, really important. So number one, minimizing the amount of chip damage you do. Like if I take 500 damage and in exchange I zap one person for 50, that was a bad trade. Like objectively, like clearly is a bad trade. Avoid situations like that, but it happens more often than you might realize. That's number one. Number two, you definitely don't feel comfortable with Primal Rage. If this was on Reddit, I could link you the general resources I have for this. It's tricky though, because I've heard the replay codes, the custom game no longer works for whatever reason. I don't know if like a recent patch broke it. I tested it out the other day and I also couldn't get it to work, so you might have some trouble, but you need to practice Primal Rage for sure. Like, I'm sure there is a new modern, I'll probably find one at some point, custom like map game to practice Primal Rage. You definitely do not feel comfortable using Primal Rage. Like, it's very obvious at times where you're not jumping when you should, because you can't control the distance of your jump, and so you're just walking at people, and it lowers the value you can get out of Primal Rage by like 50%. Like I tell people is, for Winston, the ultimate highest value you can ever get if you cannot use Primal Rage is like low diamond, like diamond 5, diamond 4. If you can't use Primal Rage consistently, I'm not saying like kill like 3 people. I'm saying kill 1 person in the open field who is not healed in 10 seconds. That's like literally like the bare minimum for Winston with Primal Rage. Kill a hero who is not being healed before Primal Rage ends, right? Assuming they have mobility, like Tracer obviously is like insane, right? But like any regular like Ashe, Soldier, Cassidy, Zenyatta, Ana. I mean, Ana's still tricky with the sleep dart, right? Ignore the disable itself, but like any just random hero with like one general like okay mobility defensive skill, can you kill them in 2 seconds with Primal Rage? If they are not healed. If no, you're not getting past low diamond. Like, it is an upper limit as to how far you will ever get, because you will, once you start approaching higher ranks, you'll just literally never kill anybody with Primal Rage, and the enemy team will know that right away. They can tell based on your mechanics and your body language that you don't feel comfortable going after them, and so instead of running away from you, they will stay in the fight and they will burn you down even faster. The best way to prevent yourself from dying as a tank is to be threatening, right? If you are hitting shots, I will run for you. If you don't hit shots, I will not run from you at higher ranks, and they will burn you down. So, yeah, I cannot emphasize enough, you gotta get better at Primal Rage. Okay, let's watch this. So we start over here, nothing super exciting. Zap, Winston jumps up here, your Kiriko comes to you for some reason, that's fine, right? Zap, 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 zap. Loser takes a ton of damage, okay, great, we got a kill. Right, reload. So, let's think for a second. We're currently missing 300 health, right? When you include the effective armor, health from armor, you're basically missing 300 health right now. Why are we trying to fight this? So I only do 70 damage a second. The only possible target here is Winston. I can have 1, 2, 3, 4 possible heroes attack me right now. This is a good example of like, look, I just stopped taking damage right now. Like this, just go back. Just leave, right? You have to go back like right away. I would also note here is, like, I think this bubble is okay, right? I think the problem is you kind of put it like too far back so it drops down. But I would note, like, at this moment in time, nothing else is going to happen. Just reset back to gas station. You're taking way too much damage right now because the Kiriko must heal you. And now look, right? So we've gone back to gas station. We have 380 health. What's our job right now? Is our job, hey, we need to pressure the enemy team and like apply pressure? No, because we have no health. We just need to chill, right? Just sit back and wait and get healing, right? Your Kiriko will come back to you. If she doesn't come back to you, drop here, get Mega, and then go back into the fight, right? The alternative is to go this way and get the Mega as well. But you have 340 health now and dropping. You're now 280, 190 health right now. This is unbelievably dangerous. And this is what I mean by chip damage. This is damage that I wouldn't take because I'm like, I'm just not going to try to fight right now. You have to be decisive. Am I fighting? Am I not fighting? If I'm not fighting, don't take this damage. You're getting shredded right now. I like the way you walked all the way over here and you could have gotten this Mega, but instead you just decided to go this way. To be fair, you could die here for sure, right? But I mean, with jump, it's extremely unlikely and bubble coming out. But I'm just noting that you need to maximize your time, right? So now I have help. Now I can go in. But I would like to point out here that because of the fact that I'm not applying pressure, what ends up happening, right? All this time, let's see how long it is when you get shredded. Okay, let's count how long it is you're out of this fight. So from here, you're shredded. Okay, you're clearly out of this fight. You're not going to do anything, okay? Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and now I'm back in the fight. You can't go 12 seconds in the middle of a fight not doing anything. Like, it's just not gonna work. Like, it's just way too long of a period for you to be completely out of the fight, like going around looking for healing because you took too much damage initially. It's too much space to give the opposing team. Because what ends up happening here is, look, okay, their Winston's go over here, he's applied pressure, the Bastion's pushed back, their team's able to walk forwards, right? And now you're finally back here. Now, does it cost you this time? It doesn't, but it will cost you in the future, but it does cost you space here at a minimum. Your Kiriko dies here. This is sort of your fault. So let me explain. Why is this sort of your fault? Well, we finally have health here, and we're finally about to do something. So let's think through our options at this moment in time. 1, we know there's a Winston up here. 2, we know there's like 3 to 4 enemy heroes over here. Is my job, and we know that there's one who's died and come back, I believe. Right? So is your job, A, to attack the Winston, or B, attack these 3 heroes? Hopefully, with the benefit of, like, replay vision, and the way I'm framing this question, you understand your job is to go after these 3, not this guy. You don't even do a lot of single target damage, right? You are the lowest damage tank in the game. You can't be going after this Winston. Like, this is not a helpful moment in time. Just go after these 3. Against this Winston, 70 damage a second. Against these 3 heroes, 210 damage a second. Or is it 75 now? 70 or 75. We'll just assume it's 70 for the moment, right? So either way, it is 3 times as much damage if you go after these 3 heroes than if you go after the Winston. Your team does not need you to jump on this Winston. If you are that Winston and you jump on him, does that change what he does? No, he's like, cool, you're wasting your time jumping me. I'm not even close to dying. Like, this is not going to do anything. But if you jump these 3 heroes, you can completely shut them down and prevent any other pressure coming from them. So that has to be your mindset here, is go after the squishies, not the tank. It's not your job to deal with this Winston. That's number 1. Number 2, this bubble is no good, okay? It's really important, and I talk about this a lot in my Winston videos. Bubbles are used for you to apply more damage, okay? Every bubble, if you're trying to evaluate yourself, how much damage did I manage to deal because of this bubble? If the number is below 50, you're throwing. You're just like straight throwing. You're almost assuredly, like, if that is what you look like for the game, like your average damage is under 50, I can virtually guarantee 95% of the time you will lose that game. 95 to 99% of the time you are going to lose. Number 2 is if you're at 50 to 100, that's a bad bubble, right? It's like, you know, everybody's going to have these, right? I'm going to have those in the game where I'm going to like, okay, this is, I mean, granted, I should maybe adjust the numbers up now that the damage is higher, but like 50 to 100 is like bad, right? It's like, I'm not thrilled about how this went, but it happens. 100 to 150 is pretty typical, right? That's like, okay, good damage. That's zapping 2 heroes for about a couple seconds. Yeah, that makes sense, right? That's fine. You know, that's good pressure. It's damage, right? They have to shoot the bubble, and then I jump away. 150 to 200 is good, right? That's, okay, now we're looking at good damage, right? Now we're zapping a couple heroes for like 3 seconds, or we're zapping like 4 heroes for a couple seconds. Or for like a second and a half. Now we're looking at good damage. That's definitely scary. Once you're over 200 damage, you're in great territory. Like if those are the bubbles you're having every single fight, you're almost assuredly going to win this game. It's so hard for the enemy to deal with that much damage. So let's look at how much damage you deal with this bubble, okay? How much damage you get because of this bubble? Not including the landing damage, right? That doesn't count. So how much have we done so far? 0, right? Because the other than landing, which is like irrelevant, and you didn't even get the full landing damage. So I got to zap him for a quarter second there, so we'll call it 15 damage. And that's it. That's all the damage you did with this bubble. And that's why that falls into the category of this bubble is throwing. Like, this bubble is like, on an A to F scale, an F. You got no value from this bubble. And a big part of this is that you're jumping a tank, right? But also, it's just not close enough for you to go after anybody else. Versus if you landed here, you could apply a ton of pressure. And this is what goes back to, your Kiriko is going to die right here. Is this your fault? Well, to some extent, yes, and some extent, no. It's not your fault in the sense the Kiriko should easily have been able to Swift step away from this, so there's no reason why she should die here, A. But you could also prevent this because if you were here, zapping everyone, your Kiriko never gets in danger of dying to begin with. So, half your fault, half the Kiriko's fault, but at the end of the day, we're focused on what can you do differently. I know your group of your supports, but like this video is not about your supports. So, what can you do better? You could have been targeting the right people, in which case your Kiriko almost assuredly lives, and this fight is totally different. With the Kiriko dead, you have like almost no sources of healing, so you either need to commit right now and win the fight, or you need to leave. I would probably just leave right now. Like, I would literally just jump back towards spawn. But the problem is, you don't do either one of those things. You don't die right away, and you don't get out. You try to half fight, then you run over here, and then you're gonna die, and this is what's called staggering. And you know this because you're already diamond on support. This is staggering. Your Kiriko has already spawned and walked like, 4 or 5 seconds out of spawn at this point in time. You just died. This is you staggering. Like, you shouldn't, like, you knew the Kiriko died. Like, the Kiriko dying was 100% the Kiriko's fault initially, but there's no reason for you to be dying 15 seconds later. This is throwing, and it's going to deny you the ability to have a clean contest here, because now you're coming back, and if you had not died, you would not be here, you would be here, right, ready to go, about to go in, instead of having to walk all the way over here and then set up. And because you're not able to go up and take this space, they're going to lock you into this tunnel, which means now you have no real good fight here because they're able to cut that space off and you don't have a clean engage. So everything that happens after here is your fault for staggering. Now you're forced to jump into 3 people, you have no help rear. Like, again, like, you don't really have a lot of options, right? You have to stop the cart here, but like, and then you're gonna go and you're gonna focus down and then you're gonna die, right? I don't really think that I could have played it any better once I was in this position, right? Like maybe I would have survived like a little bit longer, or have a little bit more space. Maybe I would have landed on the opposite side of the cart and tried to stay alive. But no matter what, like this is a losing fight. I think the odds of you winning this fight were well under 10% because you were not in position, right? And this is something I say a lot, is kind of like the sins or mistakes of the past affect my options now. If I screwed up in the past, that can prevent me from having good options in the future, just because things could, in a game like Overwatch, it compounds upon itself. Staggering, such a small thing, what seems like maybe a small thing of staggering, prevented you from having a real fight on this point at all. Alright, I'm going to try to go through maybe a little faster now, because there's just like a lot of gameplay. You're going to switch D.Va here. D.Va is actually great against this lineup. I just don't think you are good at playing D.Va, to be perfectly blunt. I mean, you said this is mostly about Winston, so I don't know how much attention you wanted to pay attention to D.Va, but I would just note, like, you don't look comfortable playing a D.Va at all. So the general goal here is D.Va is I want to be playing up, at a minimum to make sure my Kiriko can escape. So I've been playing up right now. I'm looking for every opportunity to burn down the Winston. So why are you matrixing right now? There's no reason, right? What, that you're worried about like that 50 damage zap from the Winston? Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter, right? I want to be using this opportunity to get up here, because after I see that he dives in, right? Because remember, I wouldn't be here. I would already be here, because why? What am I waiting for, right? I want to play up. The second he dives in, I want to fly right up to this corner, and I want to blow him up. I'm going to activate missiles, and I'm going to shoot him in the face. I'm not going to stand here. Here is where I get lit up. Here is where I'm safe, and I'm going to light up this Winston. And I'm going to try to do 300, 400, 500 damage to the Winston, because the Winston doesn't have the ability to jump out for 3 seconds. So I'm doing as much damage as I possibly can, A, to farm ult charge, but B, I want to force out his bubble. Because the Winston's made a mistake jumping into the open here. If I go down and burn him, he uses bubble. If he uses bubble, he's not going to have it for the next 12 seconds. That could be fight changing in the next 12 seconds if I can do that. So this is an example of just like not seeing an opportunity as playing as D.Va, recognizing, look, I can easily beat the Winston in every single possible scenario. If I have half health against a full health Winston, I still win the fight. Like the advantage is so strong for D.Va, you just need to be able to see when you can take that. The Winston made a mistake, immediately take the fight. See? This is a good example where like you're wasting your time right now. Like I know you're checking for your team, which is great, but like, okay, now go back, start taking the fight. I don't want the Winston to jump here. This is bad for me. Because by the time he does that, he's going to land, he's going to do damage, he's going to bubble him off, he's going to shoot, and he's going to pop primal. How do I know he's going to pop primal? Because he hasn't popped primal yet through the entire first point, and they won both fights, which means he likely has a lot of ult charge. I would assume that he has ult by the third fight. I'm only at 20% because I switched off. So, like, I got to do something here to try to mitigate this next primal. But you're not doing anything. You see? Like, you're not doing anything right now that is helping your team win. If you're the team sitting over here, does it look like your D.Va's doing anything? It doesn't. Like, you're literally not doing anything. You're going to fly over here to try to chase Lucio. This is not a great high percentage play, and you're going to take 200 damage in exchange for doing it. It's not like the Lucio is like, if it's Widow, sure, fine, go ahead, take this angle, right? Because Widow's dangerous or Hanzo's dangerous. Lucio, who cares? It's like that. It's not that big a deal. I wouldn't fret about this. You took a lot of damage, like, going over here. But it's not like, this is not like a big mistake on a scale of like mistakes. This is like pretty small. I'm just noting I wouldn't have bothered here and would have kept trying to bully the Winston, because I really do not want the Winston to get a clean engage. Because if the Winston gets a clean engage, we're going to lose. It's going to be super bad. All right. Noting here. So we're going to come back, and we're at the bridge right now. We're missing 125 health. Okay? I noticed the Soldier, the Lucio, the Kiriko can all see me. Winston, I don't care. Winston's not going to do any damage to me. Right? Soldier's lighting me up. Does this feel like a good scenario? Just hold Matrix here. Right? Hold Matrix, cross back to the other side. I am not going to 1v4 the people on the cart and stop this cart. It's not the time for that. My team is still setting up right now. I don't need to do anything. I just need to reduce the damage that I take so that when I do commit, I'm healthy and ready to go. And you'll notice you've already taken 300 plus damage, right? Including armor, it's actually more like 400 damage. I've already taken 300 plus damage right now for nothing. Like, I got nothing out of this. And when I say nothing, I mean literally nothing. How much damage do you do here? Okay, you've shot the Winston so far for 4 damage. That's it. You did 10 damage to the Winston, and in exchange, you're going to lose how much? Right? Okay, you did another 4 damage there, maybe? You just traded 300 of your health for 10 damage on the Winston. That's a terrible trade, right? This is the kind of thing you got to be thinking about when you're playing as tank. Now, again, if you don't play D.Va regularly, you're not going to be thinking about stuff like this. A ton of this is not like, oh, I'm actively thinking how much damage is coming in, how much damage is coming out, what's the ratio. You just play D.Va a lot, you develop the experience. But if you're not comfortable playing D.Va, I wouldn't recommend playing D.Va unless you're trying to learn how to play D.Va. But if you're trying to learn how to play D.Va, I'd recommend just one-tricking D.Va until you get the hang of it, because you'll learn faster versus constantly rotating between heroes. So now is generally the time where I'd want to be taking the fight against the Winston. Two problems. Number one, you have no health. As we already discussed, you took way too much damage. You're missing 400 health right now that you should have, that you don't. A. B, I want to step back a little bit to get away from the edge so the soldier can't shoot me. Those are the two things I would note, right? But otherwise, this is a great scenario for you to trade against the Winston, because again, you do over 3 times as much damage to the Winston as he does to you. So every single engagement you take with the Winston is good for you, unless you're about to get demeched, right? Which almost happens right there. Note how low the Winston gets. If you weren't this low, you could have stayed enough to kill the Winston. If you kill the Winston here, this whole fight is different, because he's going to pop primal, and then he's going to go. So now Winston goes in, and, right, now it's going to be a problem, right? Bastion's going to get low, Winston jumps in, finishes the kill along with the Ashe, and now you basically have no win condition, right? You have a full health Winston who's running around messing up your backline, you're super low, right? So you can't even do anything either, and you haven't done anything up to this point. Trance gets popped, you drop down, but it's still a 4v5 situation, which is really, really hard to win. You're going to kill the Kiriko here. Do not feel proud about this at all. The Kiriko could easily have Swiss stepped out of this at any moment in time and just chooses not to. Right? Like, she could just literally Swiss step to the Lucio and she's totally fine, but she just dies here, so you do not deserve that kill. But the rest of your team dies, and that's it, right? There's really nothing you could do. I don't think that I could have meaningfully done anything differently here. I wouldn't even gotten the kill on the Kiriko because I would not have expected her to die. Like, there's no reason she should have. I probably would have aimed for a closer target to me, and I would be better at tracking, but I don't think I actually would have killed anybody here, right? Especially with beat popped, I don't think anything would have changed. The biggest thing was lost here when we took the chip damage, and we were unable to keep the Winston in check. Plus, you have no ult charge because you switched heroes. Alright, so, working on third point here. Let's think for a second. Like, again, do I really want to be playing this far away from cover? Like, at this moment in time, look, my Winston wants to go in, that's fine. Or my Bastion, I can just hold Matrix here. That's fine, just hold Matrix for him. So, I think that's like kind of a better plan than just getting stuck out in the open. Now you're taking another 300 damage. So, we're burning the Winston. Okay, I mean, if you're gonna burn the Winston, right? Either you're like, I don't think I'm gonna take enough damage, burn the Winston, or you think, hey, I can't fight the Winston because I'm gonna get shot in the back. In which case, back out. You're being very indecisive here about which way you want to go. For the record, I don't think that I would have burned the Winston for that angle. I think I would have backed up and then flew this way and burned the Winston for this angle. I'm not gonna get the kill. There's no way I'm gonna kill the Winston here, but I'm gonna force him back, which is still good enough. Note about Matrix, okay? Right now, you Matrixed down a quarter your bar. Right? You're shooting the Winston. Why am I matrixing now? I started matrixing while still looking at the Winston, which is obviously not going to do anything. And now I'm matrixing for what? What is going on right now? Like, I'm not in danger of dying. My Kiriko's here. I'm in Kitsune. I'm either going in or I'm not going in. If I'm not going in, just step back and leave, right? If I am going in, then just go in. I don't think you should go in here, for the record. I think that this is, like, a whole fight is, like, incredibly awkward, but it starts from the fact that it doesn't feel like you know what to do as D.Va in this situation, right? I get healed up here. I just chill and play this corner right now. I can't contest this. This is not an area. I think knowing the map as a tank, like, understanding the map is very, very helpful here as well. Because for the defending team, let me kind of demonstrate, like, where's the area where you can be fighting? This area is not contestable by the defending team as a general rule, because they have to take this really wide turn and there's no cover to play that angle. So where fights actually happen is here. This spot right here, I can take a fight here. So I'm not going to try to swing this corner right now and look at them, because there's literally no reason for me to do so. I can't reasonably win a fight back here, so there's no reason for me to take damage and use Matrix when I can't win that fight. So, trying to mess with the Winston. Note right now that you burned through almost your whole Matrix. I almost never use my entire Matrix. right? Because I always want some matrix in case there's something surprising that I need to deal with, okay? The only time I use my whole matrix is when I know for sure, like for example, I'm matrixing a Bastion, I'm matrixing Visor, whatever it ends up being, or like Barrage, then I'm obviously going to use the whole thing. I'm not saving it for anything else. Like that is the most serious thing I could possibly face. This soldier has not Visored like basically all game. Not having matrix right now is a mistake, as you are going to find out right now. And now you have no matrix, so you can't do anything to stop this, so your team is going to get shredded, then you're going to get demeched, and that's going to be it. Again, like you have full control to stop like all of this stuff, but like the problem is compound on compound and compound and compound, and you're just never putting yourself in position where you can possibly win a fight, right? They just have so much momentum behind them, and you don't really know how to stop that. But again, a big part of this applies to the fact that you're just not instinctively playing D.Va well, which is why it's like hard for me to give advice, because like it feels like if your Winston is Gold 3, I think your Winston is arguably better than Gold 3. I think you could easily say that your Winston is like, especially if you ignore Primal Rage, I think you could easily say your Winston is like mid-plat and beyond, right? If we ignore Primal Rage for a second, which is a problem, but just noting that like your Winston play is quite good, but your D.Va play feels significantly worse than that. Also, what is happening with the... He's just moving on his own while the game is paused. Your D.Va play just feels like significantly worse, and so it's like hard to kind of review it because of how much weaker it is than your other play. This is another great example. What's my goal right now? Is it to contest the cart with 200 health? No, we got plenty of time. We got like at least 10 seconds till this is touching. I don't need to go touch the cart. I need to sit here, burn the Winston down, keep my team alive, get healed up by the Kiriko, and then contest at the last possible second. But instead, you fly over here. And I guarantee you the reason you're flying over here is you think, I'm going to pop the bomb on the point, and that's going to do something. Popping the bomb on the point does literally nothing, right? Look, no one here is close to dying. They're not even running from you. Like literally, this soldier is trying to kill you after you pop Dom, because Bomb is one of the worst ultimates in the game. If you didn't know that because you don't play D.Va, that's what I'm telling you right now. D.Va Bomb is one of the worst ultimates in the game. You ran over here and you just popped this D.Va Bomb thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna stop them. It doesn't stop them at all, and it wastes your ultimate, and it creates no space, and you should have died here for it. If I was a soldier, I would have just followed you, killed you, and then dropped here, and then that would have been game over right there. Okay? The point of D.Va Bomb is to give you a second life to continue aggression. And that matters when you have momentum with your team, or like you can turn the momentum around to the team. Flying into two heroes that are totally separate and have complete cover from the D.Va Bomb is not going to do anything for you. You should have fought out whatever was going to happen over here, right? Flew back in, got health if you absolutely need to, and then flew back out and then contested with full health, then fought it out until you got demech, pop bomb, remech, keep fighting. That's the way you use D.Va Bomb correctly. But yeah, with here, there's no win condition for you whatsoever. I will also note your aim is going to be a problem. So you're going to go after this Ashe. This Ashe is pinned against this area. Okay? I'm hoping, even at gold, that this is 40% plus accuracy. This is not 40% plus accuracy. Right? Your aim is all over the place. You clearly have no ability to control like small movements. I say this a lot. The most common reason I see for this is because people have mouse sensitivity, which is way too high. Because when the Ashe goes left, you go way too far to the left. When the Ashe goes right, you go way too far to the right. It's a very, very common problem. Now, you can listen to me, or you can, I wouldn't say just blindly listen to me. You can consider whether or not it's a mouse sensitivity problem. Maybe it's just a general aim problem. That's entirely up to you. I'm just noting that your inability to kill heroes is or hit heroes at close range, especially as D.Va, is going to be an upper skill ceiling on how far you will ever get on D.Va. D.Va is heavily reliant on being able to kill heroes at close range very, very quickly, right? I think D.Va is actually one of the hardest tanks to aim with because of this, because the expected threshold for how good you have to be at aiming is actually quite high to be able to do anything as D.Va. So they're going to cap. Nothing you can do about that. So we're going to play an offense. The offense is not really that meaningful, though, because the enemy Winston... Oh, is he here? Oh, he's here. Yeah, I think he just throws his life away. What's going on over here? Yeah, you're zapping. But this is good, right? Winston dies, right? You're zapping the squishies. It's fine. right? You rejoin, right? Go up top. You obviously should not have clipped the top of the sign, right? Little things like this matter because you would have killed him if you landed on the right spot. Right? Try to zap them. This is good. I don't think you should pop bubble right there. Be careful about popping bubble too early. The most common mistake is that people Winston pop it too early as opposed to too late. But you force the Kiriko back. Okay, great. Winston is back. For the record, you have more than enough health right now. I would have kept chasing the Kiriko. There's nobody else here who can kill me, right? Winston does basically 0 damage against you. Like, again, this is why it's so relevant when I mentioned this earlier, right? In my head, I think Winston does 0 damage against me. I'm not going to change anything I'm doing based on whether or not the Winston is there or not. Unless I'm incredibly low, the Winston's damage is functionally irrelevant against me. So when I look at this, I don't think, oh, there are 3 heroes here. I see one Kiriko who does very little damage against me. I see a Winston who does 0 damage against me. I see a Lucio who does very little damage against me. So this is not a 3-on-1. This is a 1-on-1, right? Or a 1 versus 1.5. I'm perfectly happy to take this fight. I would have just immediately jumped back in, even with no bubble, and tried to kill the Kiriko. Because you saw that she uses Swift Step right here. So she uses Swift Step, and I think you've already seen her use Suzu. Oh, no, she doesn't use Suzu. So you can at least force out Suzu right now. I would have reloaded, backed up, and done a short jump onto the cliff. And then she would be very, very close to dying right now, and probably force Suzu out. I would still jump right now if you had jump available. Alright, but things are going to go pretty smoothly here. They're staggered. They have no real ability to contest. Alright, so we're chilling here. You go after the Ashe. The Ashe is like very consistently out of position. She like very clearly is like the worst player on the team, I think. So the Ashe is going to jump up, so now she has no ability to escape. That's a good idea, right? You jump on top of her, you zap, zap, zap. I probably would have put up bubble here, not for my own survival, but to prevent any healing for the Ashe, because this Ashe should die, right? Bubble, walk up, zigzag like this to body block, and she should die here. Letting the Ashe get by you here is painful. Right? Zap, 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 right? Just body block here. You can even pop primal if you want to absolutely make sure that she dies here. But that melee was way too early. She still had she was at like 70, 80 health when you meleeed, something like that. Like pretty high. So that was definitely not going to work. So now you put down bubble, which is quite late. You should still be focusing the Ashe down. But now you're super low and you go back. I think this is probably the right call. I think it's unfortunate that we did not kill the Ashe here though. Because the Ashe was like grossly out of position. It really should have been a kill. See, this is a good example where I'm taking too much damage right now, okay? I don't want to peek. Why am I peeking right now? I can't do any damage against a soldier. I can't do any damage against a Winston. I can't do anything right now. Just stay behind cover, get fully healed, then go in with full health, right? Now I'm back to 450, and now I'm peeking again. But why? Like, I can't do anything right now. It's not my time. Just get healed, and then you can go. Now I'm back to 480 again. Now I'm at 430. Like, this is no good. If you're going to do this at this situation, I would probably jump, like do the short jump into her and then put bubble down to make it like more significant pressure. I will note, this is probably one of the worst situations that you will get yourself into as Winston, where you are clumped up with your team as the enemy Winston is zapping all 3 of you. I think you can look at the situation and think, this is not what I want to be happening, right? The Winston is zapping all 3 of you, which is doing a tremendous amount of damage, and you are creating 0 space. The opposing team is just walking into you because you're not jumping them. You're not jumping them because you have no health. You have no health because you're taking too much chip damage. So all in all, not really doing a job here. All right? Trance has to get forced here, which is really unfortunate. You don't want Trance to be forced here. But if I'm going to get Trance forced, okay, who am I focusing? Focus one hero and kill them. Is it the Lucio? Is it the Kiriko? Is it the Ashe? Just pick somebody. It probably should be the Lucio or the Ashe here, but pick somebody and focus them down, and then once you get them low, you can pop primal and finish the job. So if I'm jumping the Ashe here, this is a bad jump. Because look at which way the Ashe is going, okay? The last I saw, the Ashe was here going to the left, which means that by the time I jump onto her, she's going to be somewhere over here. She's not going to come back here and re-peek the cart with Trance active. So I'm got to be thinking, this Ashe is heading this way to retreat towards the Kiriko. But where do I jump? You jump to the right of the cart, which means where's the extra 50 damage I get from landing? I don't get it because I didn't land on the Ashe. But if you jump to the left of the cart, as I said, you would be landing on the Ashe. At this point, this is the hard committed point of the fight. Like, the moment this jump that you make right now So the jump you're about to make right now, this is the terminal phase of the fight. Okay? Whatever happens from here, we are going to win or we are going to lose. But your jump here is not committed enough. Your jump here is like, let's see what happens. No. Trance has been popped. Your team is already in a bad situation, but Trance reset your team situation. I believe you have all teammates alive right now. Yeah, you have all teammates alive. Their team is overextended. Go get kills. That's the job of the tank right now. Okay? Go get kills right now. Land on the Ashe. Commit on the Ashe. Zap. Pop primal. Finish the kill. That's your job right now. But this soft jump isn't going to do anything, right? And now I can't do anything right now. The Ashe isn't even close to dying. And because you've taken too long, Bob has been popped, but what am I going to do with primal? The second you pop this primal, when I was watching the replay, I was like, this isn't going to do anything. Because think about it. What is the plan right now? Their whole team is really far away from us, and we have no kill potential here other than the Widow. The Winston has been in our face the whole time. He's going to be coming back in soon. Bob is popped, which stops my team from walking forwards. I don't even have bubble right now to bubble off for my team to walk forwards. There is no situation where primal was going to, even if I got your controls, nothing's going to change right now. I can't do anything in this situation. The correct move at this point, I think you've made so many mistakes at this point in this one fight up to here, but at this point in time, I can't win. I just jump back and just chill, right? Because the Bob's not going to do anything from the front side of the cart. Just jump back and just reset, take the next fight, right? I don't think anybody even needs to die here. Just wait the Bob out. But this primal is completely wasted, and now you've fed away 1,000 points of ult charge. All right. So up here, zap. I think that you should not try to push in right now. I think you should just wait to zap out the Winston, right? And then go after the bubble ends. That way your team can actually push in. Another option here is to push the Winston himself, especially if you know the Lucio's there. Once I see the Lucio's there, I jump, land both, pop bubble, right? And then force the Lucio back. And then at that point, I've at least created some space, because their Winston can't stay here, right? He has to leave. And I force the Lucio back. That's enough space. And then if I had primal, I could do a ton from there, but obviously you've wasted primal. Soldier dies, not really a lot to do to you. This goes back to, hey, what's going on with this Lucio? Let's do a little bit of prediction here. Where is this Lucio going? Option number one, or let's do 3 options. Option 1, going towards my team. That's obviously not going to happen, right? He's going to die. Option number 2, he's going to drop to the ground. That also wouldn't happen, because why would he drop? You get killed by my team, and he'd get killed by me. Option 3, he's going to continue along the cliffs. That is the most likely of the possible options. So I'm not going to jump here, at least not yet, and when I do jump, I'm going to try to meet him, let's say, over here. But instead, I do this low jump into the choke, which is not even close to him. This is a wasted jump. You can't waste jumps as Winston if you want to win fights, right? The Lucio is, in fact, vulnerable right now, but your jump is not good. It's not to the right spot. You're not predicting well. It's no good. Okay, speaking of bad primals, when you looked at this and you saw the Winston pop primal right now, did you think, A, I'm very scared this Winston's about to carry fight? Or B, do you think, man, what the heck is this Winston doing? This is throwing. I'm pretty sure you thought the latter. There's no, what is the Winston going to do against 4 people right now when he's already discorded and super low? He's already nearly dead, and now he's dead right now. Why am I pointing this out? Obviously, it's not a replay about the opposing Winston. I'm pointing this out because this is what it looks like when you mess up from the other team's perspective. The other team looks at this and they're like, what are you doing? This is a 5-on-4 situation. He's pinned in a room with 2 supports here, all the healing in the world available to them, right? No support from his team whatsoever. This is throwing by the Winston, and he just gets shredded. And the Lucio pops B here to try to save the Winston, and messes it up at that. The reason why you get any progress here is because the enemy Winston completely botches this. That was a horrible everything by the opposing Winston. But this is important for us to learn because we also play Winston. So we have to understand, why was it a mistake? Why was this such a bad call? Because they were outnumbered, there was no support from his team, both supports were together, there's way too much healing, I was trapped in a weird room, I couldn't isolate anybody, all these reasons combined are why that was a really, really bad primal. So, thinking here for a second, I'm full health right now. I can land on them, right? They're down, they're Winston at a minimum, right? I don't need to play safe. Like, landing here would be fine if I was playing safe. I don't want to play safe right now. We have a 5-on-3 advantage right now. You need to know I have the numbers advantage and push them. I want to land on Lucio. I want to land on the Kiriko. I want to land maybe on the Soldier, but probably on the Kiriko or the Lucio. This is way too soft. You're not reading the fight well, understanding this is my moment to be aggressive. I guarantee if you land the Kiriko, the three of them are not going to walk into the bubble and be like, oh, let's kill the Winston right now, because your team's going to go up and you're going to murder everybody. Like, it's not going to happen. But you see that you give them so much space here because you don't know that you could land on them. But you have to know the numbers, right? You should know this already from playing support at Diamond. You should be able to track at any moment in time. If I pause the game and I asked you live how many players are alive or dead, you should know that number, right? 100%. As every single roll, at any moment if I pause, I say how many players are alive right now, you should know what the number is. You had to know that was a 5-on-3 situation, and you had to be aggressive. If you did 75 damage to this Kiriko, she's dead. Alright, you jump the Ashe, that's fine. Right, she bounces you back. Now you're 227 health, unfortunate. As a note here, as Winston generally stay away from tight indoor areas, if I was to do this, I would go here and I would jump out this way, because that would get me out here really quickly, and then my team could start healing me. Right, you see how you're like kind of messing around in here, you're not doing a whole lot. Now you think to jump, but now you don't have jump, and you get here late, which means now you're not healing. This is another bubble, which is like how much damage you get out of this bubble? 0. Right? Defensive bubbles lose fights. Lost fights lose games. Right? Now, again, is this the best thing you could do in this situation? I guess so. But if you are in a position where you're popping bubbles to try to keep yourself or your team alive, you have made a mistake, because Winston relies on aggression to be able to win fight. I mean, most tanks do. Right? If you're popping bubbles purely to keep yourself or your team alive, you are going to lose the game, because you can't do anything from this position right now. You're not going to do a single point of damage with this bubble. It gets totally shredded, and now the fight is over. Right? They walk through, they zap everybody, and what are you doing? Nothing. You die. Right? I'm not saying you could have done anything differently. I'm like, you just can't. You lost the opportunity to win. Was right here. Right? When you're like, oh, hey, look, we got numbers advantage. I need to be landing here, following them down, committing, getting kills. That was the moment. Right? Sitting over here, taking 300 plus damage, forcing the defensive bubble out that I can't do anything with. This is losing. Right? At this point in time, you did not realize it, but this fight is already lost, because of 2 major mistakes that you have made right there. Have already cost it for you. Okay, we are going way too slowly. All right, so we're gonna actually try speeding this up right now. I would have landed on top of them. I mean, at this point, like, it's gonna be do or die, so I want to get as much damage as I possibly can. You do a reasonable job staying alive here. Zap, 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 zap. All right, you LOS the Bob, which is great. You're gonna kill the Ashe, and you guys are gonna cap this. Great. All right, going forwards. All right, obviously Ashe out of position, dies. Great. Gonna continue stagger. So we're over here just chilling. I don't even try to use the window. It's not for you. Your right click does so little. Your right click does 30 damage per second, for the record, fully charged, assuming you do it perfectly and like let loose like on the perfect timing. Double 30 damage is 60 damage per second. That's terrible. Don't use the window. It's not for you. Windows are not for you as Winston. Don't even bother trying to use them. Just do your job. All right, I think you go through and then you're gonna cap. Okay, great. So we're gonna play Winston here on offense. Once again, I think it goes pretty well. They clearly are not doing really anything to stop you as Winston, which I think makes things go pretty smoothly. I think going on Junker, yeah, pretty good here. I think it's fine. All right, continue stagger. Obviously, everything's going well. They're just not putting up much of a fight, which is good, right? This is what I'm saying. It's like, it looks like when you play Winston, like, you have so much impact. You know? Like, even with the times where I'm, like, critiquing you, overall, you still have a ton of impact on Winston. It really feels like they struggle to deal with you the whole time. And if they don't switch counters, I think you just keep rolling over them. It's confusing to me why you switch off Winston. Right? Again, you're constantly applying pressure, right? You got bubble. You do a good job here bubbling off the soldier, right? Good call, right? Zap, zap, zap. Okay, great. Excellent. Continuing to steamroll. All right, so now they've got Sigma, which is great. It doesn't hurt you at all. I would not jump there. I think it leaves you in the open. The Bastion ulti's been popped. I try to follow that up. Yep. I think good deep bubble there. You waited a little bit, which I think is a good call. Yep. Kill the Baptiste. Right. Jump to Lucio. As a note here, I remember watching this in game. You have to get used to air strafing while you're in the air. So when you jump, you have control. You have the ability to actually curve around if you just input the right buttons. It's like hard for me to describe, but like the short answer is you turn into it while also holding down the strafe keys, and then you can curve around. So when you jump here, even if you're like, oh shoot, I'm off target, if you're good at playing Winston, you can curve and follow the Lucio and land on the Lucio. There's no reason for you to be this far out against the Lucio. You should have been landing like on top of him. I actually probably would have landed on him because I think the only person attacking you is the Sigma. You can actually bubble there if you landed. Like after he knocked you, now he has no ability to stop you, right? Jump, re-jump on top of him, right, and get the kill. I think there's a very, very high chance if you just land on top of him that your team can convert that with a kill because your Tracer's playing with you too. I think here things are pretty smooth. Double pop, yep, you kill the Ashe. Your melee timings are very consistently off, by the way. You're always meleeing early. Alright, you pop primal, okay, fine. So Winston, smooth. For some reason we're gonna play Orisa here. I have no idea why you decided to play Orisa. I don't know if it's like a reaction to the Bastion or whatever it is. I mean, you can still play Winston in this situation, even against Bastion. I think you 100% could play Winston. So you're gonna pop a spin here, you're taking obviously way too much damage. You gotta chill and get healing. Again, stop poking. Like, just get healed. Like, you can't do anything with 350 health. Like, you're losing more. You're taking more damage than you're dealing. So, you're poking right now. Cardinal rule playing Orisa. There is an order to which you use your abilities. It goes spin first, then fort, right? Then spin. And combined, this gives you something like, right, this is basically 2 seconds. This is 4 seconds. And this is 2 seconds. This is going to give you 8 seconds of like damage reduction / mitigation. Okay? But the problem is, if you do fort first, then you only spin after, and then you lose a ton of time as a result. It's rough. You have spin available. You should not be popping fort here, assuming you even need to be taking this fight right now, which I don't think you needed to do. I would just spun her right off and then went right back to cover. But now I don't have fort, which is bad. You also javelined her while she was matrixing. Then you're going to walk in front of the sign, which is bad. That's not what you want to do here. Literally 4 people are blowing you up as you walk to the left. You get absolutely shredded, and then you die. This can't happen. Like, this is like a fightable position, but you throw it away the second you step out here, and now you have spin available, and you don't pop spin, A. B, you don't have fortify as a panic button either because you used it, so now you're extra screwed and dead. I think all in all, it does not feel like you play Orisa. And again, you don't have to play Orisa. Winston would have been fine here. Alright, you're going to come back as Rammatra. You give up first point, which is really, really unfortunate. That means you only got 1 fight on first point. It should always be a minimum of 2 fights on defense for every point on every single map. Every payload moving point. For the hybrid ones, like Midtown, for example, it's only 1 fight typically. Like Midtown, Blizzard World, those are typically 1 fight on the first point. But for all the ones where the payload needs to physically move from the beginning to the end, it should be at least 2 fights every single point of every single map. Having only 1 fight almost always means that you made a mistake. It means you didn't take a fight soon enough or you staggered. Alright. So we put a shield out, even though we're not actually taking any damage pressure now. The only thing that came at us was a sticky grenade, so the shield's way too early. Right? The Vortex does nothing right now. Right? It's like, Vortex is a 14-second cooldown. You can't be chucking it for nothing, especially in the current like meta. Like, this is just not, like, you need to use the Vortex in combination with your staff or your team or to prevent them from going somewhere. That was a spam Vortex that you threw just for damage. Vortex is 15 damage a second. That is like 0 damage. Functionally, think of it as 0 damage. It's not going to do anything. Oh, look, the Bastion's shooting us. This is a great time to have shield, right? Bastion only has 6 seconds of uptime. Rammatra shield lasts for 4 seconds. It lasts almost his entire assault form. It's actually a very strong counter against Bastion, is to shield every time he pops assault form. So now we shield, but the problem is, when's Bastion assault form ends? Pretty much right now. So now we're not actually shielding any damage. You see? Like, your shield is barely taking any damage. Look, your shield is barely taking any damage right now because you shielded after the Bastion has finished assault form. This is like Tank 101 against Bastion, is to sync up with his assault form. or desync as assault form, depending on what you're trying to do, right? As Winston desync as assault form, but with Rammatra, I want to be popping shield every time that he pops assault form, because if he pops assault form, it means he thinks he can create space or get a pick. If I shield it off, he can't do that, and then it's really frustrating for him. If he doesn't go assault form, I just don't use my shield. That's worth it. I will trade my shield in exchange for permanently disabling the enemy Bastion's assault form. Like, it's incredibly strong if you use it correctly. But again, it doesn't feel like you play Rammatra enough to like know this. I think this Vortex is okay under some scenarios, but I think your team is just too far away to actually do anything with it. So getting caught out in the open is bad, especially in Omnic form. You're super low, you get scared, and you're going to pop Nemesis just to stay alive. This is almost always bad. Is it the best move here? It is. But again, you should not have been this far away from cover to have to pop Nemesis to begin with. Popping Nemesis and only using it to stay alive almost always means you will lose a fight, because you need to use Nemesis form to keep yourself alive and apply pressure to the opposing team. I want to constantly be using my staff here, staff, shield, cover, to apply damage. And then at some point, hopefully when Bastion's assault form is down, then I pop Nemesis and I push in and I start punching the heck out of people. Popping Nemesis just to try to stay alive here is a big mistake. Don't try to take fire now. Just get healed. Just get healed. So, what is the shield for? This goes back to, like, you don't look like a Rammatra player. The only person looking at me is a Bastion who's not even in assault form, where most of me is obscured and covered by the cart. The Bastion's like, okay, cool, and it just ignores you. Like, this is exactly what you don't want out of shield. Your shield is giving you no value right now. For the record, I would not turn my back to the Bastion, because the second I see a Bastion going here, like, when I see the Bastion going to the gas station, where is this Bastion going to go? Well, option 1 is he comes back out this way. Unlikely, because the cart's going to be blocking it. Option 2, he comes out this way and tries to flank here or up top. Maybe some chance. I think it's a relatively long rotation, and I have 2 teammates on high ground. So, if anything, he's going to go up here and he's going to murder my team. So, unlikely that I have to deal with that. Option 3, he's going in here to go around the cart over here and pop in and kill me with assault form. So the last thing I'm going to do is completely ignore the Bastion that I hear walking to my flank and then have him pop assault form right next to me. You see how your Zen's like, oh god, you don't realize what's happening. Oh no, he's also getting shot by the Mei. But this is quite lucky that Trance is popped right now, because you will be dead in 1.5 seconds if the Zen doesn't pop Trance right now. I'm going to skip to it's not worth it. Like, there's obviously, like, I could spend, like, 30 minutes talking through 30 seconds of your Rammatra gameplay, right? But, like, I think it doesn't feel like you're, like, if you want this, I think we should do a separate video on just Rammatra, because, like, there's, like, so many, like, kind of issues here that it's, like, really hard for me to, like, slow down and do enough. I think the video should be mostly about your Winston gameplay. So we're back as Winston, trying to stop the payload. Yep, I see. That's a good example where you melee, right? You see, right now you melee. Because melee used to do 30 damage, now does 40 damage. But when they're about 1 box or a little over, you can melee and instantly kill them. This is the moment in time where you melee. I would probably be looking for a vertical jump there. One technique that's very helpful is to do a turn up and do a short jump in the air and then land back down for damage. Oh, very lucky. Your Baptiste did a good save there. Yeah, that bubble's not going to save anybody. I can tell it's too far away. Like, sometimes you'd be like, okay, you know what? I can't save the Bastion. That's fine. Let's use the bubble for me. Like, I know you want to save, but this bubble, you have to know this is not close. Right? Like, this is not even close to the Bastion. It literally, if the bubble was twice as large, it still wouldn't have reached the Bastion. It would go all the way over to like here, right? It still wouldn't save the Bastion. So, this was never going to work. I would save the Bastion because you really need the bubble for right now when you go in. You want to be going in on the Lucio here, right? Bubbling off and applying damage to the Lucio. Without bubble here, you can take potentially a lot of damage. The enemy Baptiste is not weaving. I already feel that he's not weaving. Alright, you're super low. Ideally, you want to get a jump in before the primal goes off, but you're pretty low here, so I understand. So you pop primal. The problem is you're missing 3 players So, like, I don't actually think that you can possibly win this fight right now. I think what I actually want to do is I want to use that jump to go over, get the Mega, and then come back and then drop in at the last second. Like, letting the cart go from here to here is actually a super big deal. That gives your team time to respond and give you a fighting chance. Trying to take the fight right now with Primal, you have almost no chance, right? This is a 5-on-1 right now. There's no way. Even if you're best, even if you're fearless, right? There's no way that you can possibly win this fight. And now you're dead before your team can come out, and now there's no win condition. All right, so we're playing as Winston again. Once again, their team has just literally no answers for you as playing as Winston. This is why I said if you just play Winston all game, I think you just win this game. Like, you're just so much better than them at Winston. Losing the Mei there was not ideal. There's only so many places that she could be. So, Bastion the form's going right now. Yeah, you're covering, which is good. I don't necessarily know that I would go for the Mei there. I would actually go for the Bastion after he finishes the form. But I think this is a good jump in, right? Applying a lot of pressure. Zap, 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 zap. I would have followed the Zen. You have plenty of health here. I would have followed the Zen out of the bubble to try to get the kill. This is like the second time this has happened, so I would note this. You can't be losing people when you jump on top of them, right? The Zen is on your left. You see the Zen is going to be on your left, right? You jump in, Zen is on your left. I'm going to land, right? Just think about this from the top-down perspective, okay? From the top-down perspective, right? The Zen is over here. I'm going to be landing right there, which means I should spin this way, left, right? Clockwise, sorry, counterclockwise, in order to find the Zen. But you don't realize what's going on. Then you look and you're like, oh, okay, you just need to keep spinning here and find the Zen. And as a result, you lose out on like 50, 60 plus damage on the Zen because you just can't find him in time, which is potentially a big deal. This is a great example when primal skills are important, right? For me, this is an easy kill on the Zen, and then I kill the Baptiste too. In this situation, I probably kill both of them, right? Pop primal, land here, right? Short jump into them, that's 50 damage on both. Swipe, swipe. That's 40 damage on the... wait, I can't remember if it's been buffed with the recent damage changes, but let's assume 40, the old damage, right? That's 40 more damage right now to the Zen, and then to the Zen and the Baptiste. Maybe I land the second swipe because somebody might actually ricochet off this wall, but I don't need to rely on it. That's 90 damage guaranteed. 50 on contact, 40 more. That's 90 to the Zen. At that point in time, the Zen has 75 health left. Okay. From there, I've already hit the Zen probably into the far wall. Another short jump into the far wall. Right? Swing one more time, Zen's dead. Right? If the Baptiste has managed to keep the Zen alive, great. Swipe, and then swipe, and I just keep him juggled against the wall, and now he's guaranteed to die, because the Baptiste isn't going to be able to keep him alive from that point in time. Then turn, go after the Baptiste, and kill the Baptiste. Let's see what actually happens. So I swipe, I hit the Mei, I'm chilling. Alright, trance, granted, I'm not going to kill anybody through trance, but I'm just noting is that, like, you don't feel like super comfortable. Like I would have gone straight away to try to get this kill. You're at 950 health and you're not jumping in right away with the primal. But once they pop primal here, now I'm getting out because I can't kill anybody, right? I can't out damage 300 health a second. So I chill here for a second and I jump back to my team and I'll kill him after, right? Back to my team, high ground, whatever I want to do, just anywhere that's not anywhere near them where I'm suddenly taking a ton of damage and feeding ult charge. Because I want to stay as close to high health as possible, because when the trance ends, I need to regress. I think this landing is okay. I think this is an okay time to be taking this type of landing if you want. Right? Zap, 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 zap. Okay, great. Right? I'd reload. Yep. Look for the jump in. I'd jump in. Yep. Go in. Yep. Good. Right? Zen's dead. Good. All right. Smooth sailing. All right. So we're in overtime, pushing the cart. Tough situation. I think Winston on offense. I think on defense, playing Winston against cart in overtime is totally fine. I think on offense it sucks because you really don't want to be anywhere near the cart. But like your team could get bumped away and like they get shredded. Yeah, you see slept. I think good call here, not popping bubble, realizing it's not necessary. Bastion ulti gets popped. So think Bastion ulti gets popped. He's probably gonna pop it around the cart. So either A, I'm gonna stay near the cart and hope my team doesn't die, or B, I have to put bubble down to stop it. Because remember, Bastion ulti are artillery shells that are gonna come down from the sky. So bubble actually stops it completely from dealing damage. So right now, like I don't know where you're going. Like somebody needs to stay in the cart. It's either you or the supports. And if you think it's the supports, that's not a great call unless you're going to use this opportunity to advance and deal damage. Playing slow right now and not bubbling for your supports is objectively a mistake. There is no situation where this is the right call. Because now everybody leaves the cart, and now the cart's gonna it's pops. But like it sucks, right? Because you have everything here. You have health, you have jump, you have bubble, you have literally everything here to stall out for at least a little bit longer and give your team a chance. Because like you have window right now, right? You have window here, you have visor coming up, you have overclock ready, and you have trance coming. Just buying your team 2 to 4 more seconds on the cart to like survive Bastion ulti and potentially flip this is a big deal. In fact, because of how close this is actually a super big deal. All right, once again we're playing Rammatra. Kind of flip through this pretty quickly. So your team has killed 1, so I would apply pressure. Yeah, I think aggress right now. I don't think that's a great vortex. I would just, I think just trading damage out for the D.Va right now is good. Yeah, canceling, good early cancel on Nemesis. All right, vortex. See, this shield's not great, right? Like, you're not actually benefiting from the shield at all. You can tell from momentum that they're aggressing, right? D.Va's already behind you, and the Lucio's coming in quickly. I don't think this Vortex is going to do anything. Neither the Vortex nor the shield are going to do anything. Now you get knocked back, and now you don't have any tools, so you're forced to pop Nemesis. Early Nemesis pops get you killed, because it means that you're not going to have shield when you come out of Nemesis. So now you're in big trouble, right? If I'm in the other team, I'm just waiting for Nemesis to end, and I'm going to kill you. Right? Now Nemesis is going to end. And now I don't have shield, right? You have 3 seconds left on your shield. You're going to go on the Baptiste. You really wish you had shield right now. So you're looking for it. You're like, shield. But you can't shield because you pop Nemesis too early. And you pop Nemesis too early because your Vortex didn't get you any value, and your previous shield didn't get you value. And once again, we're putting yourself in a bad situation. This Vortex isn't going to do anything, right? Now I'm going in trying to apply pressure, but that's not going to do a thing. So note here, we mentioned it earlier on aim. So your Rammatra aim, also a problem. 0 for 1. 0 for 2. You see, you're even on target and you move off. To me, it feels like a strong symptom of sensitivity problems. But you're 0 for 2. All right, we got 1. Okay, so 1 for 3. 1 for 4. You're on target and then you move off. 1 for 5. Once again, you're on target, but you over aim, right? You went over. 1 for 6. 1 for 7. That's not even close. Okay, 2 for 8. Okay, you hit that one. So 3 for 9. 3 for 10. 3 for 11. 3 for 12. You missed the D.Va remake even. Right? And 4 for 13. You can't be hitting 1/3 of your hits on Rammatra. Not acceptable. If you want to climb, this is going to be a problem. Like, I'm just being honest here. This is a massive problem. Like, my accuracy in this situation, like, obviously, like, I'm in GM, so, like, I'm not in GM right now anymore. I have to climb my way back up. But generally speaking, when I'm playing Rammatra in, like, actual GM, pre-season 9, I'm going to be hitting, like, 85 to 90% of those, right? Even against, like, baby and safe stuff, I'm going to be hitting 85 90%. I don't expect you to hit 90%. I don't expect you to hit 80%. I think 50 to 60% is a reasonable mark for you to look at, and you're not hitting that. It also varies based on, like, exactly how evasive they are, right? Like, I expect to hit 100% of my attacks against the tanks. All right, I'm coming over as Rammatra. So, trance is popped. Okay, so competitive situation, like, fightable. I don't want to walk through the window. Like, trance is popped, but, like, the trance is on the other side of the cart for me, so I want to be, like, a little concerned here as to whether or not I'm going to survive this. I'm going to get absolutely obliterated here, which is what happens. You don't need to do this. Like, you don't need to walk... Oh, actually, they capped it anyway. Yeah, they touched it, so nothing here matters. I would just farm damage and suicide. So I guess this is fine, because none of this is going to matter, because they touched it. Did you wait too long? For the record, you can jump over this. So jumping over that bush would have been enough to get you there. But yeah, fundamentally, not contesting your in time is a big deal. Because now you use transfer it too. Okay, this is definitely a problem. So, thinking about Route 66 second point for a second, right? There are 2 fights, right? Fight number 1 happens somewhere in this area, okay? Fight number 2 happens somewhere in this area. So this is 1, this is 2. Where is fight number 1? What is happening? What the heck? I think it's because you guys all die in cart, right? Which is a mistake, like challenging late there. But even then, you should still have time to fight by the time that it gets to the bridge. right? It's like you should be out here, you should be coming straight out, and you should be taking this fight very soon. Oh, you still have teammates that are staggered. But I would be playing out here right now. I would be playing out for sure, because you need to be taking this fight. Yeah, you're not. You're like, I know you're down on players, but like you got to take a little bit of a risk here. To be fair, your teammates are like very, very, very delayed though. I don't know what the heck is taking them so long. But now you only get one fight on this point, and that's gonna suck. At a minimum, just fighting out here forces people to leave the cart, and there's only one person on the cart, and it'll move slower, right? Part of the reason they're moving so fast is because they have 3 people on cart the whole time. Alright, I think going for a soldier here is the right call. I think the problem is you're getting kind of obliterated. I think it's just really hard to fight out of this choke, right? Everyone's just having a lot of trouble here. I think you're looking for a really, really big shield right here to be able to help your team get out the door. This shield is too early, bad angle. I think you want the shield to be like this, right? And then use that to kind of poke down the D.Va initially, and then as the cart gets close, drop, use Nemesis, start applying pressure, and then pop Annihilation. I think the shield gives you no value. I think the Vortex gives you no value. Vortex in the cart here would have been huge, like behind the cart. So Vortex gives you no value, shield gives you no value, right? Now's the time where you really should pop Nemesis and apply pressure to the squishies on cart, because they're right below you, so like pretty consistent right now. But you're gonna get shredded from behind. You have to pop Annihilation right away right now. But yeah, and the Reaper does a ton of damage to you. I think you just have to put yourself in a terrible position to try to win that. But you do have Annihilation for last fight. Okay, fine. Last fight territory, right? Overtime, you win one fight, you're good. I don't think you put the shield down, because why? Right? What's the shield for? What? D.Va missiles? Who cares? Like, it's nothing. It's like not relevant at all. It's not a big deal. I think this Vortex is clearly not doing anything, right? It's like way too far away from them. You really need Vortex like now. If you could Vortex at this moment in time while you apply pressure to the backside of the card. But mostly I'm focusing on just staying alive, right? I just want to stall this out as long as I can, let my team get space, give them a chance to get picks, right? Get angles, and then hopefully we can turn this. But you're not getting healed at all, which is also a problem. Ah, never mind. You are being healed. It's just not a lot of healing. So you doing the best you can. I think this is all fine. I think everything you're doing here is totally fine. This is pretty much exactly how I play it. The Reaper does so much damage though. I think you can't do that. Yeah. I think a key thing here, you have to track the Reaper. So Reaper does about 205 damage per second. That obliterates tanks. Like, you can't lose track of where the Reaper is, so you must always be looking. If the Reaper's shooting at you, you have to be blocking. So the Reaper being behind you here is also a problem, right? So I think with beat popped initially, you can do apply low pressure. Once beat ends, I need to keep the Reaper ahead of me and just constantly hold block, right? He's reloading. Okay, I can get one punch in him, but as soon as he comes back to starts pushing me again, no punches. Hold block. Hold block right now. Hold block, get in front of the D.Va, get in front of the Reaper, and just play as slow as you possibly can. Because with Annihilation, you can stall this out for a very, very long time, right? For quite a while. So just keep holding block right now. Because the Reaper, I'm pretty sure, is chunking you. That's what's like actually killing you right now. Yeah, see, that's a big shot. That's a big shot. Right now, D.Va's shooting you as well. That's a whiff. That's another whiff, right? And that one kills you. It's the Reaper that's killing you. You have to be keeping track of the Reaper. And this is really hard to do in real time. I'm not going to pretend that it's not, but I think that what happens to me, like when you play Rammatra a lot, it's like you just get the feel. Look, I'm at half health. I'm just holding block, right? As a general rule, just hold block. My punches don't necessarily need to be way that carries this. Just hold block. Give your team a chance. Like hope for like an honor grenade. I mean, actually, there was a good honor grenade earlier. Like hope for an honor grenade. Hope for a pick from the Torb, like something. Ideally, you don't want your fight to turn on the whole game to turn on one fight, right? That's like a really bad position to put yourself in. But like in this situation, I think trying to stay alive as long as possible is actually the best play, and just let the Annihilation timer keep leeching them as much as you can. Okay, so what to say here? Mostly, right? We're focused on Winston play, right? I think for the other heroes, I would just say, don't play too many other heroes. Like focus down. Like I think that your Rammatra is actually better than I remember on the first go around. I think it's probably like Winston's your strongest by far, and then Rammatra. Like if your Winston is gold 3, I think your Winston's better than gold 3. But your Winston is gold 3, I think your Rammatra is like gold 5, and I think that your Diva and Orisa are below that. Just for perspective for like how big the gaps are. For Winston, not taking chip damage, being better at Primal Rage, understanding when to take fights and be aggressive, right? We saw a few examples where like you had an advantage and you could have turned it into a win, but you didn't. And that cost you time off the clock when you had opportunities to convert them. I think those are the biggest tips. Obviously, we covered like a lot of other stuff, but I think that's like kind of the biggest stuff to walk away from. All right, I'm going to hold there. Hopefully this is helpful.